Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm sharing a deep, emotional story of a young man who moved to the United States with big dreams. But one giant barrier stood in his way: English. This is the real-life journey of Miguel, who went from silent, scared, and insecure to confident, fluent, and successful. If you're learning English, this story is for you. Stay until the end. It just might change how you see your struggle. When Miguel stepped off the plane at LAX, he was 19, filled with nervous excitement. It was his first time in the United States, and he believed with all his heart that his life was about to begin. Back in El Salvador, his family had worked tirelessly to give him this opportunity. His mother had taken on 2 jobs to help pay for his visa and plane ticket, and Miguel promised her he would make the most of this chance. But from the very first moment in America, things felt harder than he expected. The signs in the airport were all in English. People spoke quickly, often with unfamiliar slang, and Miguel struggled to follow even simple conversations. He smiled politely, nodded when he didn't understand, and hoped no one would ask him questions. The language barrier hit him like a wall. He realized that dreaming about life in America and actually living it were 2 very different things. He moved into a shared apartment in East LA with 2 other immigrants who worked long hours and mostly kept to themselves. They didn't talk much, partly because they were tired, and partly because they too were still learning English. Miguel's first goal was to sign up for English classes at a local community college. But when he arrived, the receptionist spoke too fast. Words like identification, registration, and placement test flew over his head. He left feeling embarrassed and overwhelmed. The next day, unsure of what to do, he missed the placement test entirely. Eventually, Miguel did manage to join an ESL class. His teacher was kind and patient, but the classroom environment wasn't always welcoming. During his first attempt to read aloud, he stumbled over the word through and pronounced it tro-gu. A few students laughed under their breath. Miguel's face turned red, and for the rest of the class, he stayed quiet. It was a small moment, but it pierced deeply. That evening, he sat on the edge of his bed staring at his notebook, wondering if he belonged here at all. His part-time job at a fast food restaurant brought no relief. When customers asked questions like, "What comes in the chicken bowl?" Miguel would freeze, unable to respond. He relied on pointing, smiling, and praying someone else would step in to help. Even at home, he found himself withdrawing from people. He stopped making eye contact. He stopped trying to speak. The fear of making a mistake became paralyzing. But Miguel didn't give up. He began teaching himself 1 English word a day, just 1. He'd pick a word and carry it with him all day long, repeating it in his head, practicing it out loud when he was alone. He made flashcards. He watched YouTube videos made for kids because they were slower and easier to understand. He listened to English songs and printed out the lyrics so he could read along. Every time he learned a new word, he wrote it down in a small notebook he carried everywhere. He made rules for himself. Make 1 sentence a day, watch 1 video without subtitles, speak at least 1 sentence to someone in English. And when he made mistakes, and he made many, he smiled and reminded himself, "Today I learned something new." The more mistakes he made, the more he grew. After several months, the effort started to show. One evening at work, Miguel confidently took a customer's full order in English without asking for help. "Hi, welcome. Would you like to try the combo meal?" The words flowed, shaky but clear. The customer smiled and said, "Good job, man." It was the first time anyone had complimented his English. That tiny bit of encouragement lit a fire in him. In class, he started raising his hand more. He answered questions, even if his grammar wasn't perfect. His teacher noticed. "You've improved so much," she told him one day. Miguel felt proud, not just because he was getting better, but because he was beginning to believe in himself again. Encouraged by his progress, Miguel accepted an invitation from his teacher to attend a public speaking club at the local community center. The idea terrified him. Speak in front of strangers? In English? But he forced himself to go. The first week, he said nothing and sat in the back. The second week, he introduced himself with shaking hands and a trembling voice. "Hello," he said. "My name is Miguel. I am from El Salvador. I am learning English because I want a better life." And when the room erupted in applause, something inside him changed. He realized that people were rooting for him, not judging him. That single moment of bravery opened new doors. He found his voice. He started volunteering to read aloud in class. He helped new students who were struggling. Slowly, his fear faded. He was no longer the boy hiding in the corner. He was a young man speaking up, showing up, and growing into his potential. 6 months later, Miguel applied for an internship with a construction company that supported immigrant workers. It was a paid program where participants learned skills like electrical wiring, carpentry, and site safety. But more than that, it was an environment where English skills were crucial. The interview would be entirely in English. Miguel prepared for 2 weeks. He practiced answers with his classmates, rehearsed in front of a mirror, and recorded himself speaking so he could hear and correct his pronunciation. When the interview day arrived, he wore his best shirt, took a deep breath, and walked into the office. "Why should we choose you?" the manager asked. Miguel answered without hesitation. "Because I know how to work hard. I have learned English step by step. I don't give up. I want to grow. I want to be useful, and I will give you 100%. He got the internship. That experience changed his life. He went from intern to employee in 3 months. His supervisor praised his dedication and leadership. Miguel began helping other Spanish-speaking workers understand safety instructions and forms. He had become the bridge between two languages. In time, he took night classes in business. He moved to San Diego, started a small cleaning service, and eventually hired 5 employees, most of them new immigrants like he once was. He didn't just give them a job. He taught them how to speak English during breaks, just like he taught himself years ago. Miguel still carries the notebook where he first wrote words like table, thank you, and restroom. He looks at it sometimes to remind himself how far he's come. When people ask him what his secret was, he always says the same thing. No secret. Just don't stop. 1 sentence a day. Every day. Today, Miguel's story is more than just his own. It's a message for every English learner out there. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are becoming. Your accent is not a weakness. It's a sign of bravery. Every time you open your mouth and try, you are building something, 1 sentence at a time. So if you're reading this and feeling discouraged, remember Miguel. Remember that he once felt the same. And look at where he is now. Not perfect, but proud. And you will be too.